Another overflow crowd here at Rosenblatt Stadium for today's national championship game and all Southeastern Conference final. Just the second time in World Series history two teams in the same conference are playing for the title. Stanford and Arizona State of the Pac-10. Then in the '88 final it was won by the Cardinal 9-4. LSU has taken the field. Here is today's starting lineup for the Crimson Tide of Alabama. David Tidwell leads off and plays center field. Joe Caruso is the second baseman. Andy Phillips bats third and plays third. The cleanup hitter, right fielder Dustin Moore. B.W. Keller is the left fielder. Matt Frick, the catcher, hits sixth. Batting seventh and playing first base, Robbie Tucker. Mark Peer is the DH. And the shortstop, Nate Duncan, will bat ninth.
And the defense for the defending national champions. Wes Davis leads it off in left field. Mark Kerner's in center. Tom Bernhardt is in right. Trey McClure is over at third. Brandon Larson is at short. Freshman Blair Barbier is at second. Eddie Furness is at first. Clint Earnhardt is doing the catching. And on the mound is Patrick Coogan.
Coogan's a junior. First team All-American as selected by the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association with his 14-3 record. 136 strikeouts in 120 2/3 innings. Coogan 6'3", 200 pounds, playing for his hometown university. He's from Baton Rouge. And he features a four-seam fastball and an outstanding overhand curveball, described as a monster curveball by Coach Skip Berkman. Patrick told us yesterday occasionally he throws a changeup, but he hasn't thrown many lately because when he does, they tend to travel 300 or 400 feet in the opposite direction. Aluminum bats are allowed in collegiate baseball, and all of the players use them. All participants must, he said, wear a double ear flap helmet, while at the plate, no roadblocks allowed, and use of tobacco products also not allowed. The umpiring has been outstanding throughout this College World Series, and all six men who have worked here in Omaha over the last 9 days are on the field for this one. It's the only game in which they use six umpires in the College World Series. Al Davis behind the plate, Jim Garman at first, John Magnuson at second, Bob Hernandez at third, Dan Mascoro down the left field line, and Gus Rodriguez is in right field. David Tidwell ready to get this championship game started at 3:41 for the year. It's a fastball in the inside corner for strike one. First pitch at 11:40 low. Oh, beautiful day in Omaha. Outstanding weather throughout the College World Series. Tidwell, a senior from Grenada, Mississippi, behind in the count 0-2. That light breeze blowing across the right through, says Al Davis, and Tidwell's gone on 3 pitches.
Well, you couldn't ask for a better start from Patrick Coogan. And the Alabama players told us yesterday that if he gets this monster curveball over early, he can be very tough. And obviously, he's getting it over down and in the strike zone. 2 perfect pitches in a row on the curve.
So 1 out and no score, just underway in the top of the first. Here's Joe Caruso, the senior second baseman, batting .373 for the year. Fouls the first pitch away. 4 pitches thrown by Coogan, all of them strikes. Fred mentioned Caruso has been the leading hitter for Alabama here at the College World Series, hitting .524, 11 for 21. And he told us yesterday he's much more concerned with scoring than he is with base hits. Down the line, tough play. On the move, McClure's throw gets through the first baseman, Furness. And safe at first is Caruso.
Well, Sean, when you're going well, everything you hit, if it's not a hit, it's a tough ball to handle. Here's a high chopper down to third base. In between hops for McClure, makes a nice play. Short hops Furness at first, and he just quite can't dig it out. Furness, even though he's 6'4", if he was 6'5", he could have stretched out, maybe caught that on the short hop, but that's why you have a big first baseman over there, so he can stretch, but he just couldn't quite handle that throw.
Now Andy Phillips, a sophomore, And number 3 hitter, they charged McClure with an error on the throw. Tough error. It was a difficult play. A lot of spin on that bouncer. He had to charge it and catch it about belt high, but he had time to throw the runner out had it been a good throw. Therefore, the error charge.
Sean, neither of these teams run very much. You know, Alabama only has 1 stolen base in the College World Series, and LSU has 7. They let their defenders do the talking most of the time.
And as we mentioned, of the top 2 home run hitting teams in the nation, LSU this year set a single season college record. They have 186 home runs. Alabama is at 159, 3rd highest total of all time. And in between, the BYU team of 1988, which hit 161 and had the record prior to this year. LSU has obliterated that record with 186 home runs and counting. They hit 8 home runs here at the College World Series in 3 games, all of them victories. Caruso, the runner at first. Joe has 12 stolen bases, has been thrown out 7 times this year.
Sean, I think both of these coaches feel that they don't want to run themselves out of an inning where they have so much potential to hit home runs.
Both coaches have talked about how the college game has changed. It used to be based more on pitching and defense. There's Jim Wells in his 3rd season as Alabama head coach. And Skip Bertman, for whom Wells served as an assistant in the late 80s at LSU. They are very good friends. Wells and Bertman speak to each other via the telephone on almost a daily basis. In fact, Coach Wells told us yesterday he chatted with Bertman each of the past 2 days looking for some advice to motivate his team for the elimination games against Miami. But at this time of the year, he had run out of his own ideas, having played so many games.
I think the line was drawn today, though. I don't believe that Coach Wells is going to be able to ask Skip Bertman for any information.
Both coaches have adapted to the changes in college baseball now. You don't see much bunting, much hit and run baseball from these 2 teams. They generally wait for the long ball, the 2- and 3-run homer, and each team has received an abundance of those this year.
And both coaches told us they didn't necessarily like that, but that's the way the game has evolved, and so that's the way they try to coach.
Russo bluffing, and now he takes off. A swing and a miss by Phillips. He strikes out, but it's a stolen base for Caruso, his 13th of the year. Phillips down swinging for the 2nd out of the ball game, both via the strikeout for Patrick Coogan.
He gets his lead by Caruso, a huge lead and a great jump. Even though that Coogan was holding him tough with the 3 or 4 throws over there, he got a great jump to go on a breaking ball, and Earnhardt couldn't handle it. Stolen base.
So an RBI opportunity with a runner in scoring position for the cleanup hitter Dustin Moore. Breaking ball just low to Alabama's leading home run hitter and RBI man. 25 homers and 79 runs batted in to go with a .339 average. Out of play to the right. Patrick Coogan has appeared twice against the Tide this season and is 0-1. These 2 teams played 5 times prior to today this season. Alabama has won 3 out of the 5. Leading in the Southeastern Conference Tournament Championship game on May 18th in Columbus, Georgia, won by Alabama 12-2. The first 3 games you see were part of a weekend series in Tuscaloosa. LSU won the final game to win the regular season crown in the Southeastern Conference. LSU won the first of their 2 meetings in the conference tournament, but Alabama won the next day to win the tournament title. A very even rivalry You saw on the screen one of the Alabama wins, a 28-2 thumping of LSU, the worst loss in the history of the Tiger baseball program. Fastball high. 2-2 on Moore, a junior from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Described by Coach Wells as an all-or-nothing guy. A long swing. Generally feast or famine when Dustin is up there. In the dirt, it skips away from Earnhardt, and on to third goes Caruso. They wanted to peel down to first to the Tigers to see if Moore swung the bat. He did not, said the first base umpire, Jim Garman.
Well, it looks like Earnhardt's going to be a busy guy today with Coogan throwing these nasty breaking balls, breaking pretty much straight down. Does a nice job of sliding in front of the ball and try to keeping it in front of him. Fortunately, it bounces off and the runner is able to advance.
A wild pitch charged to Coogan. Now the 3-2 to Moore. Strike three. Coogan strikes out the side in the first inning. And Alabama leaves a runner at third. After a half inning, national championship game. Alabama nothing and LSU coming up. Number of LSU fans in attendance trying to root their team on to a repeat of last year's national championship. No score after a half inning. Here is today's lineup for the Tigers. Danny Higgins leads off. He's the DH. Blair Barbier is the freshman second baseman. Brandon Larson with 40 home runs is the shortstop. Eddie Furness, the cleanup hitter at first base. Mike Kerner is the center fielder. Trey McClure, the third baseman, bats sixth. Batting seventh in right field, Tom Bernhardt. Wes Davis is the left fielder. Batting ninth, the catcher, Clint Earnhardt.
And the defense for the Alabama Crimson Tide in left field is G.W. Keller. In center field is David Tidwell. In right is Dustin Moore. Over at third base is Andy Phillips. At short is Nate Duncan. Over at second is Joe Caruso. And at first is Robbie Tucker. Doing the catching is Matt Frick. And on the mound is Michael Daniel.
Michael's a junior from Cherokee, Alabama. He was a forgotten man on this pitching staff for much of the season. We'll tell you his story as the ball game progresses, but he's pitched in some big ball games late in the year and is perfect in terms of wins and losses at 5-0, although the ERA is higher than 5.5. He has excellent control, as you saw in the numbers, having issued only 8 walks all season long. His first pitch line foul by the DH, Danny Higgins. Danny, a .298 hitter with 10 homers and 38 runs batted in. Daniel throws fastballs, mostly down and away, 2-seam and 4-seam fastball. A slurve, as he describes it, a hard curveball, and a modified circle change. Fly ball out of play into the big crowd in left. .3-0 here in Omaha are the Tigers. When you add their 4 straight wins to win the title last year, they've won 7 straight at the College World Series. Victory over Rice and then 2 wins over Stanford. And as a result, LSU has not played since Wednesday, so the Tigers are well rested. Well, Alabama has been in action the last couple of days, staving off elimination against the Miami Hurricanes. Neither coach talked much about the rest versus the being in action every day as an advantage or a disadvantage. There's a deep drive to left, at the wall, and gone. So the last 2 hitters to come to the plate for LSU in a national championship game have hit the ball out of the ballpark. Warren Morris to end last year's title game, and Danny Higgins to get this one started for LSU.
What a great start for LSU. The pitch prior to this one, Matt Frick, the catcher, went out and he told Michael Daniel to get the ball down. You can see this ball is not down. It's away, but it's not down. It's out over the plate and up. And Higgins just punches it out to left field, and even though the wind is blowing from left to right, he had enough to get it out of here.
Homer number 11 for Higgins. And the Tigers add to their record-setting total for the season. 187 home runs. And 9 in 3 games plus 1 inning in this year's College World Series. Batter is freshman Blair Barbier, a true freshman, having a very solid freshman season. .356 with 15 homers. A little lob down the left field line. That will fall in front of Teller. Back-to-back hits to open the ball game for LSU.
Sean, right now, Daniel just not getting the ball down in the zone. Everything is up. This ball isn't hit very hard. The pitch is inside, kind of fisted out there. But if the ball's down, it's a harmless ground ball or a pop-up. He's got to get the ball down in the zone, otherwise he's going to get hammered. His velocity is not that good. He relies on his changeup and his breaking stuff, and thus far hasn't got any of those over the plate.
Now Daniel facing one of the best hitters in the country in Brandon Larson. Ball down and in. As you saw, Larson has hit 40 homers, an SEC record and the 4th highest single season total in college baseball history. The 4th player to hit 40. Barbier at first. Nobody out. 1-0 LSU in the first. We understand we've been experiencing audio difficulties, and our technicians are working to correct the problem. We apologize for it. The ball hit the short. Nice play there. On to first, not in time for the double play. Nate Duncan, the sliding backhand play in the hole. And he moved it quickly to Joe Caruso to force Barbier for the first out of the inning.
What a nice play by Nate Duncan, kind of taking some of the fire out of this LSU assault here in the first inning as he takes a base hit away from Brandon Larson. Nate Duncan is in there specifically because of his glove, makes a nice sliding play, and is able to throw a strike to second to Caruso, and Caruso still tries to turn the double play. What a nice play.
Now it's Larson at first, and he has decent speed. 9 out of 10 in stolen bases this year. So the Tide will pay attention to Larson at first with 1 out. 1-0 LSU on a leadoff home run by Danny Higgins. Eddie Furness, the cleanup hitter, is at the plate. Furness second on the team with his .374 batting average. 17 homers, 77 runs batted in. Furness has 52 career homers. Tied with Todd Walker for the all-time LSU lead. Eddie marvels at the fact that Brandon Larson has managed to hit 40 in 1 year. And 52 is the career record at LSU.
Here you got to look at the defense as we pan by, and the shortstop is playing almost up behind second base. Third baseman's almost at dead short. I mean, if he wants to bunt right here, it's a base hit. But he's a dead pole hitter, and he's the number 4 guy. He's a power guy, so I don't think we'll be seeing it.
Ball outside. 2-0 on Furness. Quick throw to first.
You know, Sean, these teams know each other so well. I mean, this would be a great time for Furness to lay down a bunt. I mean, I know he doesn't count in his favor, but it would put the defense back on its ears. They'd have to think about it coming up next time.
1-0 LSU. I guess the obvious question is, with Daniel, however, getting his pitches up and looking a little bit shaky here in the first, might be better served with a home run hitter like Furness up there swinging away. Swings away and bounces it past Tucker, the first baseman. Larson on his way to third. Here comes the throw to third. Not in time. Dustin Moore's throw handled short of the bag by Andy Phillips, so Three of the first four hitters for LSU have delivered a base hit. And it's first and third and one out.
Well, Ted Williams would be proud. Furness, he sees the shift. He doesn't care. He gets a ball that he can handle and drives it through the infield, even though there's a major shift on the right side. Hits it so hard, and that's an aluminum bat right there. If that's a wooden bat, maybe that first baseman has a chance to catch that ball, but drives it into right field, and the throw misses the cutoff man. Nice play by the third baseman, Andy Phillips, to cut that ball off.
Head coach Jim Wells at the mound. The entire infield gathered around him. They're discussing the situation. The Tigers, the runners at first and third. One run in on the leadoff homer by Higgins. It's 1-0 LSU in the bottom of the first. No matter which team wins, the Southeastern Conference is guaranteed its 5th NCAA baseball title in the 90s. Georgia won it in 1990. LSU, the team of the 90s with 3 championships. This year, 4 Southeastern Conference teams here at the College World Series. That's a record. Auburn and Mississippi State also made it to Omaha. All of them out of the Western Division of the Southeastern Conference. Tigers out early again today with a 1-0 lead. Here's Mike Kerner, the junior center fielder. 4th on the team and hitting at .352. And another guy who can hit it out of the ballpark. 22 home runs. 2nd on the team, a long way behind Larson's 40.
Well, right now, Sean, Michael, all he wants to do is get a ground ball and get out of this inning, hopefully with a double play. And if he gets out of this inning with just 1 run scored, that would be a major accomplishment for the Crimson Tide.
Runner at third is Brandon Larson. At first, Eddie Furness. And a good hitter's count here. The 2-0 pitch to Kerner. Rounded up the middle, a base hit. And a 2-0 lead for the Tigers as Larson scored from third. 4 hits here in the first inning. Still only 1 out.
Well, you just can't get behind hitters with all this kind of power and expect to get them out. Throwing cross-seam fastballs. I mean, this ball is not a bad pitch. It is down, but when it's going against you like this, everything seems to find a hole. This ball is down. It could have just as easily gone to short for a double play, but it goes up the middle. And LSU is in business.
And the bullpen is in action now for Alabama. First pitch to Trey McClure inside. Jared Kingery warming up in the bullpen. Kingery has been outstanding in season play. The SEC tournament, in the regionals, and here in Omaha. Ordinarily, he's a late in the game relief pitcher, but with the national title up for grabs today, he could be in very early. McClure, a .282 hitter with 12 homers. Hits that in the air, a long way to center field. Tidwell drifting to the warning track to make the catch. Furness went back late to tag up, and as a result, he won't go to third. Eddie a little bit agitated with himself as he returned to second base. See him gesturing in frustration. He knows he could be standing at third right now.
Well, actually, though, Sean, with 1 out, he did the proper thing going halfway. He wasn't quite sure whether that ball was going to be caught or not. It got up in that wind and it started to carry. Even though the flags are blowing in, that ball carried pretty well out to right center, and there was some doubt whether or not the center fielder was going to be able to get that ball.
7th batter of the inning, the right fielder Tom Bernhardt. Foul ball, perhaps a play for Tucker, and it's a couple of rows deep. Went all the way over to the tarp. 1 strike on Bernhardt, batting .313. 16 home runs, 46 runs batted in for the senior from Miami, Florida. He's out of Columbus High School. Pointed in the direction of LSU by Ricky Blanton, one of the fine basketball players in Tiger history. He was also from Miami. The Blantons and Bernhardts are friends in Miami. Ricky Blanton encouraged Bernhardt to attend LSU, which he did as a walk-on. Two nothing Tigers. Bottom of the first. You might be wondering why LSU is the home team, given that Alabama is the higher seeded team. That is the Tigers' reward for going undefeated in their bracket coming into this championship game. Because they're 3-0 here, they are the home team. That's heading for the gap in right center. Furness around to score. Kerner being waved around third. He will score. It's a double for Bernhardt and a 4-0 LSU lead.
Well, this is one of the few changeups that Daniel has thrown, but again, it's up in the zone. Nice piece of hitting by Bernhardt as this ball is away from him. Sees it very well. Like you said, these people have seen each other 5 times this year. There are no surprises here. And he drives it into the gap. With 2 outs, these runners score easily. And LSU has knocked out Michael Daniel in the first inning.
And you have to feel for him, experiencing the dream of a lifetime, pitching in a College World Series championship game, and he's knocked out after 2/3 of an inning. Kingery on in relief for Alabama. 10-1 this season in 32 games. Fewer hits allowed than innings pitched. Trying to stop the bleeding. Michael Daniel, the starter, surrendered 4 in 2/3 of an inning. Ball outside, 1-1. Wes Davis, the 8th batter of the inning for LSU, the left fielder, batting .279 in his first year in the Tiger program as a junior college transfer. Howard, Big Spring, Texas.
Well, this is the first bad swing that an LSU Tiger has had this inning. And here's the pitch that Kingery described to us as a something pitch. It kind of slider drops. We can't describe it, but it's unhittable if he can get it to the strike zone.
So it's a knuckle, slider, slurve, something.
He calls it the something pitch.
And something very difficult for the opponents to hit, particularly lately. That's the junior from Fortson, Georgia, just outside Columbus. He actually grew up in Columbus. Attended the same high school that produced Frank Thomas. Like Kingery, went on to stardom in the Southeastern Conference. And Kingery hopes to follow Thomas into Major League Baseball. Despite Jarrett's success, he has not been drafted. He's stopped trying to figure out why. He's had success at junior college and here at Alabama. Apparently he doesn't throw hard enough to satisfy the pro scouts.
Yeah, all he does is get people out and win ball games. Yeah, that's some bad criteria right there.
And it's ball 4, up and away. And the Tigers have batted around here in the first inning as Clint Earnhardt will come to the plate as the 9th hitter of the inning. 4-0 LSU. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. And here's Earnhardt, the catcher. Earnhardt bats only .239, and that's very low in college baseball when you consider their team batting average is .314. He's an excellent receiver and thrower. Skip Berman says with our lineup we can afford to have somebody who isn't as productive a hitter, batting 9th. in exchange for what Earnhardt gives them behind the plate. 1-1 on Clint. Chopped to short and booted by Duncan, and everybody's safe. A rare error by Duncan. Second error committed by Jim Wells' team here in the first.
This looks like a room service hop to Nate Duncan, the shortstop. You can see he took his eye off it just a little bit. He was anticipating catching the ball, obviously, and throwing the ball to second base, but you got to catch the ball first. Watch his head. See that slight turn? He didn't look the ball into the glove because he knew it was a routine ball. Just popped out. You got to watch that ball into your glove when you're playing in the infield.
Base hit for Higgins, his second hit of the inning. Bernhardt has scored. Davis scores as well. It's 6-0 LSU. Higgins started the inning with the home run, and now a 2-run single. 3 runs batted in and a couple of hits in the first for Danny Higgins.
Well, it doesn't seem like anything that Alabama does right now is right. If they make a good pitch, it's hit. If they make a bad pitch, it's hit. And LSU, the juggernaut, they just can't do anything wrong right now in the first inning.
And the errors have hurt. One error in the inning committed by Duncan. And as a result, any more runs scored in this inning will be unearned. The 2 runs that just crossed the plate are unearned. Blair Barbier is the batter.
They're earned on that scoreboard, though. That's for sure.
Off-speed pitch. Barbier out in front of it. He singled to left and was erased on a fielder's choice for the first out of the inning. 6 runs on 6 hits, 1 Alabama error. LSU made an error in the top of the inning that did not prove costly. Ball outside. So 5 runs charged to Daniel in his 2/3 of an inning on 5 hits. 1 run charged to Kingery. Jared came in. He walked the first batter. Then the error by Duncan allowed Earnhardt to reach. Then the single by Higgins that scored 2. Then a nightmare from Michael Daniel and Jared Kingery. Daniel told us last night that ordinarily if he dreams about baseball the night before he pitches very well. We don't know if he was dreaming about baseball last night. If he did, obviously it quickly has become a nightmare. Daniel was the last man on the pitching staff after the fall. Wasn't throwing very hard, wasn't very effective. Then got shelled earlier this season by West Alabama, which is not a Division I program. And it looked like he was going to stay on the bench for the rest of the year. Then they realized he had a vision problem. He told the coaches he couldn't see the plate. He got fitted with contact lenses. Pitched better down the stretch when he got another chance. That's down to third and gobbled up by Phillips to end that nightmarish first inning for Alabama. 6 runs on 6 hits for the Tigers, and 1 Alabama error helped the cause as well. 6-0 after an inning. 6 runs in the first for LSU, the most runs by one team in the first inning of a College World Series championship game. And it's 6-0 Tigers as Alabama bats in the second. G.W. Keller fouled the first pitch away. Keller at 376. Surprising power, 21 homers. A young man who weighs just 160 pounds. Jim Wells says he's never seen that kind of power from somebody as small as Keller. Both Keller and Wells credit his efficiency with the long ball to his bat speed. He's able, through solid mechanics, to generate outstanding bat speed.
Well, Sean, also a lot of times, you know, when you're that small a stature, you have a smaller strike zone, and it's trouble for guys to throw breaking balls to you. And a lot of times, if they can't get those over, then you're going to see a lot of fastballs. Plus, they look at your size. Ah, this guy can't hit it out. Boom.
Patrick Coogan pitching with a 6-0 lead and mowing down the Crimson Tide hitters. Earnhardt had to throw to first. So all the outs made by Alabama have been via the strikeout.
Well, Coogan has shown us a nasty breaking ball, and he's setting it up with a good fastball, which he's keeping up in the zone just to keep the hitters honest. When you get to college players with 2 strikes, that's when they have a tendency to chase, especially guys with power and free swingers.
Matt Frick, the catcher, tried to bunt his way on. Would have been a major surprise. Frick at .333, 16 homers, 55 runs batted in. His first year at Alabama. He's a junior from Phoenix, Arizona. Spent last year at Yavapai Community College in his native state. Mentioned the 6 runs in the first, the most by one team in the first inning of any College World Series championship game. It's the second biggest inning in any inning of the College World Series championship game. USC scored 7 runs in the 4th in 1958. Trojans beat Missouri 8-7. 5 batters retired by Coogan, all via the strikeout as Frick went down swinging.
Well, the Alabama hitters, they certainly know what's coming. It's going to be a fastball and this hard breaking ball. This breaking ball is up. It's one of the few breaking balls that has been up by Coogan. In fact, it's too high. You know, a high breaking ball really is right thigh high. This is almost letter high, and you see it really well, but it's very hard to hit.
Two down in the second, 6-0 Tigers. Finally a ball put into play by Tucker, and that could be a problem. Nice play. Trey McClure, the bare-handed pickup and throw to first, and he benefited from the fact that Robbie Tucker doesn't run very well. A 1-2-3 inning in the second for Coogan. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Another great professional prospect at the plate, Brandon Larson, facing Jared Kingery. Larson reached on a fielder's choice, scored one of the 6 runs last inning. He takes a strike at the knees, 1-2. Larson, Furness, and Kerner, the big bats coming up. Batters 3, 4, and 5 in inning 2 for LSU. Swing and a miss for strike 3. That's the first strikeout for an Alabama pitcher today.
It was a nice piece of pitching by Kingery as he set up Larson really well for this breaking ball. He gave him a fastball, a changeup early in the count, and right now the Alabama pitchers are going to have to almost pitch backwards to these guys, meaning that they're going to have to throw breaking balls and fastball counts. As you can see, he just can't reach this well-placed curveball and fastballs in hitter's counts.
Eddie Furness fouled it away to the left. Furness, 374, 17 homers and 77 runs batted in, and 25 doubles. He needs 1 double to tie the LSU single season mark for 2 baggers. 26 set by Russ Johnson back in 1994. He also needs 1 double to become the all-time doubles leader for a career at LSU at 61. Right now he's tied with Todd Walker. Walker, a member of the 50th anniversary all-time College World Series team is selected last year. His outstanding performances here in Omaha earlier in this decade. The 1-2 pitch. Just missed. Andrea showed you Warren Morris's home run. And we chatted with Eddie Furness yesterday. Said he couldn't think of a better person to hit that home run. Said Warren Morris is the most solid person I know. He dealt with it as well as anybody could. Maintained his humility. Swing and a miss for strike 3. So a strong start to the second for Kingery. Back-to-back strikeouts. Tigers looking for their 4th national championship, all here in the 90s. Made 6 College World Series appearances. This is their 6th season with 50 or more wins. Mike Kerner, the batter. He singled to center to knock in a run and scored one in the first. And he's quickly in the hole, 0-2. Kerner and Furness, the only returning position players from that championship game of last year. Skip Bertman had to replace 7 position players, lost his top 2 pitchers from last year's team, is still back here in the World Series. Grounded to second, bobbled, and another error. This one by Caruso. Second Alabama error of the ball game. LSU's made 1. And there have been some late high hops that have proved to be problematic for the fielders.
Well, there's a lot of topspin on this ball hit by Kerner, and Caruso had it right in front of him, but there's so much topspin it just kind of eats him up. Good hustle by Kerner, hustling down the line. Even though they're up 6-0, they're trying to get more. And everything that will go wrong is going wrong for Alabama.
Looked like it would be an easy 1-2-3 inning for Kingery. Now he works to Trey McClure.
Sean, that's one of the aspects of the aluminum bat that we don't talk about very much, is the spin that it puts on the ball. And when you have a big, strong guy putting overspin on it, it has a tendency to take that big hop late, and it eats up the infielders.
First error by Caruso in 33 chances of the College World Series. He's been rock solid defensively. This is uncharacteristic defensive trouble for Alabama. Generally, they're at or near the top of the SEC fielding percentage under Coach Wells. Ball 4. Now LSU's trying to get something started with 2 outs. Lead 6-0 in the second to the Tigers of Louisiana State University. Kingery has walked 2. Kerner at second, McClure at first. Frick out to the mound to chat with Kingery. And the batter is Tom Bernhardt, the right fielder. Doubled into the gap in right center to knock in 2. And drive the starter, Michael Daniel, from the ball game. Daniel pitched 2/3 of an inning, gave up 5 runs, 4 earned on 5 hits. No walks or strikeouts. Bernhardt with his 1-for-1 today, the leading hitter in this College World Series. Moved past Jay Petchy of Stanford, went 10-for-17 for the Cardinals. Ernest and Caruso in the top 4. One and 1 the count on Bernhardt. Low and in. A 2-out error might lead to a big problem for Alabama.
Sean, as a pitcher, you just have to have the ability to shake those things off. Don't let them affect you. I know at this level, these guys are young, and sometimes a play like that can get to a pitcher.
Ball 4. So since the error, back-to-back walks issued by Kingery, the bases are loaded with 2 outs. And Jim Wells makes another visit to the mound. He's in there far more often than he wanted to be here in the first 2 innings this afternoon. Tigers have loaded the bases with 2 outs. Kerner, the runner at third, reached on the error by Caruso. McClure's at second. He walked, as did the runner at first, Tom Bernhardt. Now Wes Davis. He walked as the first batter to face Kingery when Jared ended the ball game last inning. Davis came around to score. The only run charged to Kingery to this point, and it was an unearned run. Strike 1 on Davis. Junior from Houston, Texas. His dad, Ron, played on the St. Louis Cardinals 1968 World Series championship team. Also played for the Houston Astros. Late Ron Davis played here at the College World Series for Duke back in 1961. 1-1 on Wes Davis. Kingery's been busy. Pitched 4 innings 2 days ago against Miami. Tide staved off elimination. Kerner had to get down quickly on a line foul down the left field line. We spoke with Jared yesterday. He said he could pitch 9 today if he needed to. This being the championship game, adrenaline being the force that it is.
It looks like he needs to.
1-2, hit in the air, left center. Long run for Tidwell. He's still going. That ball is off the bottom of the wall. 2 runs have scored. It will be a 3-run double for Wes Davis. And the air really hurts now. 3 unearned runs across the plate, and it's 9-0 LSU.
Sean, I think the LSU Tigers are remembering that 28-2 lashing they got from Alabama. So they're getting as many runs as they can right here. Pretty good breaking ball down in the zone, but Davis just goes out and gets it, crushes it 400 feet to the left center. 3 more runs across the plate.
Five unearned runs surrendered by Alabama in this one. Clint Earnhardt reached on the error that led to 2 unearned runs last inning. That was by the shortstop Duncan. Russo's error with 2 outs and nobody on opened the door for this inning to get started. Looks like Joe wants to eat his glove as a result of that error. Popped up near the first base bag. Tucker puts it away in fair territory. That is the inning. The Tigers get 3 more. And after 2, it's 9-0 LSU in the College World Series National Championship game. After 2 here in the National Championship game, it's 9-0 LSU. A couple of Alabama errors have hurt the Tide's cause. Sean McDonough with Fred Lynn. And Fred, Alabama did beat LSU earlier this year 28-2, so there's still hope for the Crimson Tide, but this is not what they envisioned in their second ever national championship game.
No, this is a tough road to hoe for them. When they got out to beat LSU 28-2, and they were doing the same thing to LSU that LSU is doing to them. Everything was going right for them, and right now nothing is going right for them.
Still looking for their first hit as Mark Fear lifts the first pitch of the third to straightaway center. Mike Turner the catch. One pitch and one out. Here went up there hitting .310 for the year. Nate Duncan, the number 9 hitter, to bat next, and then David Tidwell. Duncan at .256. And he's done a terrific job to raise his average that high when you consider that a month and a half into the season, back on March 28th, he was hitting .071. He's hit over 300 since to get his average to .256, and he's 6 for 18 here at the College World Series. Patrick Coogan, pitch is popped up, shallow right. Barbier out to make the catch, with Bernhardt, the right fielder, right behind. Tidwell up the middle, past Coogan and through into center field, and Alabama has its first hit. And a speedy runner at first. Tidwell aboard with 2 down.
Well, Sean, right now all Alabama has to do is don't worry about the score. Get people on base. Tidwell hits the ball right up the middle. Coogan is not in a very good fielding position as he falls way to the left towards first base. Kind of waves at it a la Bill Lee to try to snag it. But there's a long way to go. I mean, if Kingery can shut down the LSU offense and the Alabama defense can kind of get together here, Alabama has the potential to score a lot of runs.
This might be a start. Caruso deep to left, and that ball is gone. A home run. Just over the left field wall, out of the reach of Wes Davis. Coogan surrenders his first run to the ball game on a 2-run blast by the senior Caruso, and it's 9-2.
Well, this is going to put a little life back into Alabama as Caruso gets a high fastball in the zone. And I thought for a second that Wes Davis was going to make this catch. Just eluded him at the end. Makes a fine leap. Just comes down a little bit too early, and the ball goes right over his glove. If he had one more step back to the wall, he might have been able to make that play.
Andy Phillips, the batter, number 3 hitter. He lines one down the right field line. Bernhardt won't get that. That's off the wall on a hop. Phillips will try for 2, and he's in there safely with a double. So 3 straight hits for Alabama.
Sean, we were talking about the fact that Coogan only has 2 pitches, and now this is the second time around the lineup. And the Alabama hitters have seen everything he has. He has a fastball and a curveball. This is a fastball right down Broadway, whereas early in the game these fastballs were down in the zone or above the letters. And now the Alabama hitters are picking out the fastball, laying off the curveball, and they're whacking them.
And Skip Bertman is at the mound to chat with Coogan. Bertman 4 times the National Coach of the Year. Led the Tigers to their 3 national titles. Has LSU in its 9th College World Series since 1986. And he is the winningest coach in LSU history. 684 wins. Little foul ball off to the right off the bat of Dustin Moore, the cleanup hitter. Right fielder called out on strikes to end the first. Coogan struck out the side in the first and fanned the first 2 batters of the second. Fouled off the catcher, Bernhardt. Experienced some pain as that foul ball got a piece of his right arm.
Sean, you mentioned earlier the fact that the reason that Coogan doesn't throw his changeup is that it's been getting pounded, but he's got to throw it. I don't care if he just bounces it. He's got to put that seed of doubt into these Alabama hitters so that they just can't sit on his fastball.
Well, Caruso said yesterday, if we can get into the bullpen, we'll win the game. Our bullpen is better than theirs. Breaking ball missed. 1-2 the count. Two outs, a runner at second. 9-2 LSU, top of the third. Foul tipped and squeezed by Earnhardt for strike three. The comeback process begins for Alabama on the two-run homer by Caruso. After 2.5, 9-2 LSU. Business is booming at the concession stand on this warm day in Omaha. The bats of LSU booming as well, with some help from the Alabama defense. Famous faces who've appeared at the College World Series over the years. President George Bush played first base for Yale in the late 40s. Tom Penders, now the Texas basketball coach, was here for UConn in 1965. Among those who went on to baseball stardom, played here: Mike Schmidt, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, Albert Bell, and Deion Sanders, among many others. The list goes on and on. Barry Larkin, Will Clark, Rafael Palmeiro, Dave Magadan for Alabama back in '83, which was the last time Alabama was here in the championship game. Here are the names of the people selected to that 50th anniversary all-time CWS team that we spoke of last inning, including Robin Ventura, Pete Incaviglia, Dave Winfield, LSU's Todd Walker. Fred Lynn's coach Rod Dado won 10 of USC's 11 championships. Coach of the Trojans. Danny Higgins, the batter. A little bit up and in on Higgins.
It's a little chin music from Jared Kingery. You can see Danny Higgins bows out of the way. What you want to do is you want to turn your front shoulder away from the pitcher, tuck your head so that you protect the side of your head on those kinds of pitches.
What Kingery would like to do is start throwing strikes. He's walked 4 now. First 3 men he walked, all scored. Lead man on, Higgins on for the 3rd time with his homer single and now a walk. Here's Blair Barbier, the freshman second baseman, who singled to left in the first and grounded out to end the first. 11 men went to the plate in the 6-run first inning for LSU. They got 3 more unearned runs last inning. Action again in the Alabama bullpen. Right-hander Doug Hurst is warming up. Joined us late. Michael Daniel started. Lasted just 2/3 of an inning. And Kingery replaced him.
Kingery kind of tough on right-handers because he kind of slings it across. You can see this one hits the outside edge with a little bit of movement. In Kingery's defense, you know, he's already made 3 College World Series appearances. This is his 4th.
The center field and Tidwell. 1 out. Back to first goes Higgins. Kingery's been very busy. Appeared in 3 games here at the College World Series prior to today. Has now appeared in 4 out of the 6. He has a pair of wins. Was the winning pitcher in both victories over Mississippi State here in Omaha, and had a save against Miami with his 4 innings pitched in his last outing 2 days ago. And these pitchers have been working in warm weather and in the 80s for the most part throughout this College World Series. One big advantage for LSU, its pitching staff is rested. They haven't played since Wednesday. Alabama's been in action every day. Little dribbler past the mound. The play is at first for Caruso, and he goes there to get Larson. So LSU is piling it up without anything from their best hitter Larson to this point. He's 0 for 3. Higgins now at second, and scored this play 1-4-3 as Kingery got a piece of it.
Yeah, Kingery gets a piece of this ball, and I was half expecting it to glance off and everybody be safe the way things have been going for Alabama, but it does careen off to Caruso, and he puts it away. See him pat his glove there? Yeah, I got this one. Here's a jam shot. That would have been a busted bat if it had been wood. Here he knocks it over to Caruso. Little assist to the pitcher. Easy play.
2 outs. Tiger fan. Like to see one hit a long way to the opposite field by Eddie Furness. We've seen balls hit in this ballpark that have cleared those bleachers in left and right field. Furness singled and scored in the first, struck out swinging in the second. The single came against the starter Daniel, the strikeout against Kingery. Close but a ball, 1-1.
That's the pitch you don't get when you've walked 4 hitters in an inning and 2/3. If he had pinpoint control, Al Davis, a home plate umpire, more than likely would give him that pitch.
Check swing, ball 2. LSU leads 9-2. The Tigers are batting in the 3rd. This College World Series National Championship game. Furness, the hitter, is a junior and an outstanding student. GPA of 3.6 as a pre-med major. He's from a family of doctors. His father is a doctor. He has 2 older sisters who are doctors. And Eddie's going to pursue a career in medicine when his playing days are over. He hopes that's after a professional career. The 2-2 again just missed, and that had Kingery shrugging in disappointment. Now a full count with 2 outs. And Higgins, the runner at second. And the payoff pitch is hit a long way down the left field line, slicing toward the corner. And it is a foul ball, just foul. And Mascoro, the left field line umpire, just a few feet away as that ball landed. It was very close.
This is the kind of play when you're glad you have 6 umpires. As this ball from up here looked like there was dust flying. You couldn't tell if it was dust or chalk.
There was dust from the warning track and not the chalk of the line. It was a few inches foul.
You can see that it is clearly foul, and Mascaro has a perfect angle and a perfect view of it.
I mentioned at the outset, the umpiring has been tremendous for the 9 days. That's ball 4 just inside. Kingery might not agree with that statement at the moment. He's walked 2 in the inning and 5 since entering the ball game with 2 outs in the first. LSU has scored in each of the first 2 innings. The Tigers trying to score again here in the 3rd. Mike Kerner, the batter. He singled to center to not get a run and scored in the first. He reached on that 2-out error by Caruso. Scored the first of the 3 unearned runs last inning. A single by Kerner in the first inning extended his hitting streak to 19 games. He's at .390 during that streak.
You know, Sean, most of the time in a lineup, you can pitch around 1 or 2 guys to get to somebody else that's maybe not quite as good. But in these lineups, you just can't do that. And when you walk guys, the next guy could kill you.
Kerner hits it high in the air, but not all that deep in right center. Tidwell, the center fielder, puts it away, and LSU strands 2 in the 3rd. And the Tigers lead by a touchdown. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Disappointment for Vaz, unable to play in his first College World Series, and a big blow to their team. But Jim Wells has been telling his team over and over again, we have more than enough good players who are still active to win the national championship. They're 1 win away from it, but down by 7 runs as G.W. Keller begins the 4th against Patrick Coogan. 2 balls and a strike. The count on Keller. Breaking ball in for strike 2. Keller went down swinging. in the second. One of 6 strikeouts through 3 innings recorded by Coogan. Foul ball that'll drift out of play. And a nice play in the stands and right. Keller's a junior college transfer from Bakersfield in California. He's moved to left field. In the swing and a miss. It gets away from Earnhardt, and safe at first is Keller. So Keller reaches on the 7th strikeout of the ball game for Coogan, and a much needed break caught by the Crimson Tide.
Well, you don't see this very often. Actually, it's going to be scored probably a wild pitch, and Frick blocks the ball well. But right here, he takes a little bit too much time at getting rid of the ball. He's got to realize that this guy's moving. Does a nice job of keeping the ball out in front of him on a tough pitch. Right now, he's just a little tardy getting out there. Makes a good, strong throw, but it's too late.
Strikeout on the wild pitch. The 7th strikeout for Coogan. The 2nd wild pitch, and very nearly another. Great job of blocking the ball in the dirt done by Earnhardt.
Sean, by the end of this game, Matt Frick is going to be icing down those knees. He's doing a lot of hard work back there.
Frick fouled one off the home plate umpire, Al Davis. And Al's going to walk it off. Frick struck out swinging in the 2nd. He is the 2nd team All-SEC catcher this season, behind Casey Dunn of Auburn, who played here in the College World Series. Coach Wells told us yesterday, in his opinion, no disrespect to Dunn, he thought Frick was the best catcher in the SEC this year. It took the coach and the catcher a while to get on the same page. Frick took over for Dax Norris, a great catcher the last couple of years for Alabama, who was a rah-rah outgoing guy behind the plate. Fair ball and a great stop by McClure. Long throw, not in time. That play might have prevented an extra base hit for Frick and kept the double play in order. Terrific play by Trey McClure, but the first 2 men are on here in the 4th for the Crimson Tide.
This is the 2nd nice play by Trey McClure in this ball game. Gets a high hopper right down the line, has double written all over it, makes a nice stop. And then from his knees, good accurate throw to first base, but not in time. Nonetheless, a great play.
So it's an infield hit for Frick. Frick's personality a lot different from Dax Norris. Matt told us yesterday he's really not the outspoken guy behind the plate. Wells accept the change in personality from his catcher. Once he did, the 2 worked in harmony, calling the pitches all season long. Robbie Tucker swung at about a 57-footer from Coogan for strike 1. Tucker grounded out to the 3rd baseman to end the 2nd. 9-2 LSU, but Alabama is threatening here in the 4th. Pitch in the dirt, gets through Earnhardt. The runners will move up. That will likely be the 3rd wild pitch of the ball game charged to Patrick Coogan.
Well, as we mentioned, Matt Frick is having a tough day back there. Coogan is getting everything down, and this ball actually could have been caught. That's going to be a tough one on the official score, because that ball didn't hit the ground before it hit his glove.
And it has been scored a pass ball, so 2 wild pitches and a pass ball. And an error for LSU, so it hasn't been cleanly played on the Tiger side. The errors made by Alabama, 2 of them, have been very costly. There's Robbie Tucker, the junior from Huntsville. Hit 9th yesterday against Miami with a lefty J.D. Arteaga on the mound. Batting 7 in the lineup today, and ahead of the count, 3 balls and a strike. Just get the feeling that Alabama, the #1 team in the nation, could make a game of this after falling behind 9-0. Coach Wells told us Tucker's a dead pull hitter, but in the outfield, LSU plays him around to left. Robbie tried to pull that one and fouled it off his leg. Left fielder Davis straight away, and Kerner, the center fielder, several steps toward left, the opposite field. Three balls and two strikes. Nobody out. 9-2 LSU in the fourth. Well hit down the right field line. Fair ball. Tucker pulled that one against the defense, and 2 runs will score. It's a double for Robbie Tucker. And all of a sudden it's a 9-4 ball game, and still nobody out in the fourth.
Sean, what's happening is the balls that are in the dirt, the guys aren't swinging yet now, and the curveballs that are over the plate for strikes are up in the zone. As Tucker gets a ball that he can handle, even on a 3-2 pitch, he's not fooled by the curveball, and he ropes it down the line, and Alabama's back in business.
And bullpen action is about to begin for LSU. Coogan's first pitch to Pierre is a strike. Doug Thompson is the right-hander. Chris Demouy, the lefty, in the LSU pen. 9-4. LSU has the lead. The Tigers led 9-0 after 2. High fastball, a little extra on that one from Coogan, and he blew it by Pierre.
That was a frustration fastball right there. He had a little extra on it. He got a little tired of seeing these Alabama guys smoke his curveball.
And a big strikeout for Coogan. Pierre gone on 3 pitches. Then he chased another high pitch. 8 strikeouts for Patrick Coogan.
Coogan's just saying, all right, that's enough. I'm just going to start rearing back and fire. Rock, shoot, fire. This is a good pitch, 0-2. Try to get the hitter to chase. Ball looks good because it's up in the zone. You'll see it crosses the plate, but it's very high. And Coogan can get it up there about 92 miles an hour, and that's not going to be touched.
1 out. Tucker still at second. Nate Duncan, the number 9 hitter, is the batter. The ball high. Nate popped out to the second baseman, Barbier, in shallow right last inning. He's a senior from Shreveport, Louisiana. Coach Wells says he's swinging better than he ever has right now. They could use a big hit from him. Borderline strike at the knees, 1-1. Duncan's problem at the plate this year has been a left shoulder injury. One ball and 2 strikes. Breaking ball sailed high. Alabama scored 28 against this LSU team, the worst loss in LSU history. It was less than a month ago. The Tigers bounced back the next day to wrap up the Southeastern Conference regular season championship. Alabama knows it can score runs in bunches. That's rounded up the middle. Shortstop Larson on the furnace for the out. Tucker's now at third with 2 down. In Coogan's defense, really the only loud noise in this inning was the double down the right field line by Tucker. The other hit was an infield hit, although that did require a fine stop by McClure. The inning started with a strikeout. Resulted in Keller reaching when strike 3 was a wild pitch. Now David Tidwell. He had the first Alabama hit last inning, a 2-out single, and he scored on the Caruso homer. Caruso was on deck. Tidwell 1 for 2, a strikeout victim in the first.
And Sean, I'd like to see Patrick Coogan maybe take a little bit off of some of his pitches. You know, he tries to throw every curveball like it's the last and the best curveball he's got to throw in his life. You know, you pitchers out there, you have to change speeds, and these Alabama hitters, these are good hitters. And if you throw everything hard in the strike zone, they're going to hit you.
The lost in the dramatics provided by Warren Morris in last year's championship game, the fact that Patrick Coogan was the winning pitcher. Came out of the bullpen in that ball game. Kept the Tigers within striking distance. Got the win. LSU came back. Hot play for Larson with Tidwell running. And they get the speedy center fielder by a step. They're going to run from scoring. Alabama gets 2 more in the 4th. It's 9-4. LSU heading to the bottom of the 4th in Omaha. With Alabama chipping away at his team's lead, Coach Skip Bertman with his Tigers huddled around him in front of the LSU dugout. Huddled in the middle of the field after winning the NCAA championship in 1972, the University of Southern California Trojans. Why didn't you look happier than that, Fred Lynn?
You know, I must have had a bad series or something, but, you know, it was a great time for us. And in Southern California, the Trojans in particular, we were dominating college baseball, much like LSU was trying to do in the 90s.
LSU was, without question, the team of the 90s already in college baseball, trying to solidify that status with a 4th national championship in this decade with a victory today. Trey McClure, the batter. Facing Jared Kingery. Bernhardt and Wes Davis due up here in the bottom of the 4th. McClure is flied to center. He walked and scored in the 2nd against Kingery. Barrett's had control trouble. He's walked 5. Fastball down and in. There's a walk-on. His brother Todd, the center on the LSU football team. There's a strike. Trey used to pick on Todd when they were youngsters. They're very close. They're best friends. But he says he doesn't pick on Todd anymore now that he's about 290 pounds playing for the Tiger football squad. The 2-2 pitch. A little bit up and in. Coach Bertman credits much of the success of this LSU baseball team on the strength and conditioning work. The Tigers do. Coach Kurt Hester. Swing and a miss for strike 3. McClure goes down on strikes. First out of the 4th inning.
Well, Kingery sets him up pretty good here with a couple fastballs inside, then takes a little bit off this 3-2 pitch. Trey McClure was bailing out on a couple of the pitches preceding this one. And on this one, he just can't quite catch up to this off-speed pitch down and in.
Kingery couldn't quite catch up to the soft liner past the mound. And it's a base hit for Bernhardt. So Tom is 2 for 2 with a double and a walk. He's already scored twice and driven into, and he's on base for the 3rd time. With 1 out of the 4th, LSU leading 9-4.
Not bad when your number 7 hitter is leading the College World Series in hitting. I mean, you think as a pitcher that you might catch a break down in the order, but not with Bernhardt. Pulls his hands in nicely so he doesn't get jammed. Little inside-out swing up the middle, base hit.
Wes Davis, the batter. Bernhardt, the runner at first, another big, strong guy. And talked about the work of Kurt Hester, the strength and conditioning coach, who was here earlier in the College World Series but had to go back to Baton Rouge. Coach Bertman got off a couple of good lines about that hit. Davis hits in the air to right. It'll stay in the ballpark for Dustin Moore. 2 down. Coach Bertman said, well, you know, we probably have 3 or 4 football players who are staying in Baton Rouge for the summer. And they needed to work out. So of course, they have to have 5 or 6 strength and conditioning coaches supervising their workouts. He also said Coach Hester was like a tuxedo. We had to have him back by Tuesday. So, the strength coach is back in Baton Rouge, but a big part of this team's success. Earnhardt, the batter. Clint reached on an error in the first and popped out to end the second. Bernhardt at first, 2 outs. 4th inning, 9-4 LSU. Foul back, just off to our right. Remarkable the success that Pingree has had given the health problems he's had to endure. He has arthritis in his right shoulder. He's received a couple of cortisone shots over the years to help treat that problem. And he's broken his right collarbone 3 times. Did it for the first time at age 4 when he fell out of bed.
Well, nothing wrong with his collarbone today because he is throwing great stuff when he gets it over the plate.
Ball low. Garrett Pingree was telling us yesterday there's a number of superstitions, including pants pulled up. But he wasn't pitching very well in the fall. As a matter of fact, he and the starter Daniel were considered the last 2 pitchers on his staff, and here they are, the first 2 working in the championship game. Pingree's worn the same shoes all year. You can see they're a little bit dusty and dirty and worn. He doesn't wear stirrups. He doesn't do well when he does. Just wears the socks. Started wearing the goatee for good luck. Doesn't step on the lines. And just delivered ball 4, the 6th walk he has surrendered.
He needs some kind of voodoo for the anti-walk. I mean, that's the only chink in his armor right now, is that he walks guys. But his stuff is excellent, and really they're not hitting him very hard. He's his own worst enemy right now.
LSU could have a larger lead. They put 5 men on for the first 3 innings, and this ran 2 more as Higgins is out for the first time in the ball game on a soft line drive to Caruso at second. After 4, 9-4 LSU at the College World Series.
Back at Rosenblatt Stadium, LSU still leading Alabama 9-4. Andrea Joyce standing by up in the press box with Dennis Pope, the director of championships for the NCAA. This past week, a big announcement from the NCAA that it's moving its headquarters from its longtime home in Kansas City and moving to Indianapolis. I mean, it's almost like when the Dodgers left Brooklyn, or if the World Series were to leave Omaha. How difficult of a move is this going to be for you and your fellow coworkers?
Well, I have to be honest with you, Andrew. It's been a difficult week. I think the staff has several concerns. One is the effect on the families of the many employees we have, and we're also concerned about our fellow employees and also about the services that we'll be able to provide for the NCAA as we make this move. But we have a very professional staff, and those of us who are going to make the decisions to either move or stay will make the right decisions, and we'll continue to provide the services we need.
When is the move scheduled?
Well, right now, all I know is it's scheduled for either the fall of '99 or the spring of 2000. So we have a few years to work on it.
So you suspect this will have some kind of an impact, at least temporarily, on how the organization is run?
Well, I think it will. Basically, we have a lot of support staff who will not be able to make the move because of commitments to their family and whatever. And so those are the individuals I think we'll really miss. And so I think it will have an effect short term, but long term, hopefully we'll be able to work it out.
And I'm sure you'll be greeted with open arms, though, in Indianapolis. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Sean.
Thank you, Andrea. Joe Caruso, the batter, beginning the 5th inning. LSU leads 9-4. Caruso's 2-run homer in the 3rd got Alabama on the board. With a 9-0 deficit at 9-2. That's sinking fast and left and a base hit. That's the 13th hit of this College World Series for Joe Caruso. That's his dad, Kurt, who's been wearing that Superman shirt throughout. And his son's been Superman here in Omaha. 13 hits ties the College World Series record for most hits in one World Series.
Once again, Caruso gets a ball up in the zone. He provides a very small target with that little crouch that he has. He's a good high fastball hitter.
And Joe's the first player since John Fishel of Cal State Fullerton in 1984 to have 13 hits in a World Series. That's down the line and just fouled. Andy Phillips almost hit the third base bag on the fly. The other players with 13 hits, Stan Holmes of Arizona State in '81 and Pete Van Horn of Arizona in 1976.
Nice call by Bob Hernandez as he avoids the ball as well. And these guys are really starting to tee off on Coogan's fastball. He better start getting it down in the zone.
I'd say they're calling Coogan's bluff. Good, but you wouldn't.
Because you did.
And you're glad you didn't. Foul ball off the bat of Phillips. Andy's in the hole 0-2. He's a sophomore from Demopolis, Alabama. Went to a private school, Demopolis Academy. It's a very small school. There are only 17 in Andy's graduating class. But he played on a state championship team in high school. Ball in the dirt. It gets by the new catcher. Conan Horton is taken over for Earnhardt behind the plate. Trying to find out if Earnhardt is ailing in any way or if Horton simply came in because Coach Bertman thought he was the better man.
Well, one of these balls in the previous inning hit Earnhardt on the right hand, it looked like, and that probably gave him some problems. And now Horton's in there, and he's going to have his hands full trying to hang on to Coogan because everything that's down is nasty and hard to handle.
There's Horton, the new catcher. LSU has used 3 catchers this year. Horton's a senior. 1-2 missed low and away. You might be wondering how it's possible to have outstanding athletic teams at such a small school as Demopolis Academy. Andy Phillips started playing baseball on his high school team when he was in the 7th grade. He was the point guard on the basketball team in the 8th grade and the high school quarterback on the football team as a 9th grader. Past Coogan, backhanded by Barbier. His throw to first in time to get Phillips. And he's now 1 for 3. Caruso is at third. Dustin Moore, the batter. Moving from the windup of the runner third. Ball 1 to Moore, who has struck out twice. If you just put it in play on the ground, it would likely be another run for Alabama with a runner at third, 1 out in the infield back. Out of play to the right. Coogan was charged with a wild pitch on the ball that got by Horton this inning to get Caruso to second base. So he has thrown 3 wild pitches, and there's been a pass ball. And we've received word from the LSU dugout that there isn't anything wrong with Earnhardt. Horton in there as a coach's decision. And he handles the high fastball, 2-1.
That's a tough move there because we thought Earnhardt was doing a great job of blocking balls. I mean, it's not his fault that all these balls are in the dirt.
Alabama hitters knew there would be a lot of balls in the dirt. They faced Coogan a couple of times this year. Several of them told us yesterday a key facing tactic is to lay off those breaking balls in the dirt. The 3-1 pitch. Coogan might be running out of gas. Pitch is starting to come up. There is double-barreled action in the bullpen. That's the first walk that Patrick has thrown. Coogan was drafted last week by the St. Louis Cardinals, actually earlier this week, in the 3rd round. If all works out in negotiations, he anticipates leaving after this is junior year, becoming a professional. He grew up an Atlanta Braves fan in Baton Rouge. There are Doug Thompson, the right-hander, and Chris Demouy, the lefty, who was throwing last night. G.W. Keller, the batter. Those gentlemen are ready in the bullpen if needed. Keller reached on a strikeout when the 3rd strike was a wild pitch, and he scored one of the 2 Alabama runs last inning. That hit him. on the left arm. Looked like got him just above the elbow. And here comes Skip Bertman. That might be it for Coogan.
GW takes one for the team right here. He sees it, that it's going to come inside. I do believe that he wanted to. He could have gotten out of the way of that, but he just kind of turns his shoulders and says, no big deal. You can see right there, not a real deliberate effort to get out of the way, but good team play by GW.
Right-hander Doug Thompson, the new pitcher, when we return to the College World Series. 9-4, LSU has the lead, but Alabama has loaded the bases with one out here in the 5th inning. Quite a hole that formed in the front of the mound. So Doug Thompson, as he has taken over, has asked for the hole to be filled in. You can understand why he wouldn't want to continue landing in that hole.
Well, that's been a problem a lot during this College World Series. A lot of these guys have established a landing area, and if it doesn't coincide with where you want to land, it can be a serious problem with your release point.
Thompson into the ball game with an impressive 11-3 record and 151 strikeouts in just 119 2/3 innings. He used both as a starter and in relief this season for LSU. Most of his appearances have been as a starter, 19 of the previous 24 as a starter. We mentioned this is the first time in College World Series history that a conference has put 4 teams into the 8-team field. Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and Mississippi State all advanced to Omaha. Right after Mississippi State was eliminated, Coach Ron Polk announced his resignation as head coach of the Bulldogs. Well, usually you need a helmet when you're in the stands here with the way the ball goes flying out of Rosenblatt. The home run hasn't been as much of a factor as it has been in previous years, but one record that has been set here and was added to just a moment ago, hit batters. There have been 23 batters hit by a pitch in this College World Series, shattering the old record of 18. Thompson's a junior. Matt Frick will be the first batter that he will face. And Jim Wells is going over the scouting report on Thompson with Frick and Turner, and rather Tucker, who'll be on deck. Thompson 6'1", 195 pounds, from Biloxi, Mississippi. He features a 4-seam fastball, an overhand curveball, and a straight changeup. He told us yesterday that his best pitch is the overhand curve. And he also said, if I come out of the bullpen, I'm just going to throw as hard as I can for as long as I can. And he's another pitcher who's been busy here late in the season in the regionals and the College World Series, but he told us yesterday he's not even sore.
Well, you know, that was Patrick Coogan's credo as well, and he was a starter and a reliever, and he took that attitude as a starter, and as you can see, he didn't last. But coming in relief, that's what you want to do, and this is a tough situation, obviously, with bases loaded, and you have to throw strikes, but he's a Bulldog, and he's going to come right after him.
Well, Wednesday against Stanford, which was the last game for LSU, Thompson was the starter, and like today, the Tigers built up a big lead. They led the Cardinals 7-0 Wednesday. In the 5th, Thompson struggled, gave up 4 runs, and he didn't get out of the inning. LSU had to win 13-9 using 7 pitchers in the process. And this one is starting to become a seat warmer all of a sudden for the Tigers. After a 9-0 lead, it's 9-4. The bases are loaded for Matt Frick, who had a big 3-run homer yesterday in the 8-2 win over Miami. He takes strike 1 from Thompson. Frick has struck out and had an infield hit. He singled last inning after the hit. Bases loaded, 1 out. 9-4. LSU. Frick looks to the ball. In his last appearance in Wednesday's game against Stanford, Thompson gave up a grand slam. Josh Hochgesang took him out of the yard with the bases full. Fastball just missed. Thompson setting his sights on the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike on Frick. foul ball off to the right. Frick started his collegiate career at Arizona State in 1995, but was a backup, didn't play much, and so the coaches encouraged him to leave. So he went to junior college, then transferred in to Alabama. The 2-2 to him, pulled foul. He chose Alabama because he saw the chance to play right away. They had two senior catchers leaving the program, including Dax Norris, who we spoke of earlier. Frick's done an excellent job in his first year at Alabama. He's had some big homers. The homer yesterday that we mentioned, he also hit one of the championship game victories of the regionals against Southern California. Sorry, Fred. A solo homer in the bottom of the 10th to give Alabama the regional championship. Provided them the margin in the 9-8 victory in the South 2 regional, which Alabama hosted at Sewell Thomas Field. The 2-2. He struck him out. Frick slammed the bat down in disgust. It's a huge strikeout for Doug Thompson.
Well, this is a great pitch by Thompson. Pinpoints his fastball in, ties up Frick with some good velocity. You can see him try to bring his hands in, but he just can't do it because the pitch is too hard. Slamming down his bat in frustration. So you know this is a key time in this ball game.
Very big at bat for Robbie Tucker now. Bases loaded and 2 outs. Alabama down by 5 in the middle innings. In the 5th, Tucker looked at a ball. He had really been struggling at this College World Series prior to today. Started the day 2 for 14, but he's 1 for 2 in this game. A double down the right field line.
Those of you in New England will remember Carl Yastrzemski standing up the plate with looking at Robbie Tucker with the hands way up high.
Strike 2. Gave us a moment's hesitation before calling that pitch a strike. Now 1-2 on Tucker. Alabama just 1 for 8 today with runners in scoring position. They could use a big hit. Strike 3 on the outside corner. Thompson comes in to get back-to-back strikeouts of Frick and Tucker. And in the inning, Alabama leaves the bases full. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Sean McDonough with Fred Lynn and Andrea Joyce back at Rosenblatt Stadium in Omaha, where LSU leads 9-4 halfway through the ball game. During the break between innings, the Alabama dugout really getting on the case of the home plate umpire Al Davis, and he held his hand out indicating that he had heard enough from Coach Wells and a couple of others on the bench. I don't blame Coach for being upset. That strike zone got a little bit wide when Robbie Tucker was up there. He was called out on strikes. The last pitch definitely looked to be outside. Meanwhile, Jared Kingery keeping Alabama within striking distance with a fine relief job despite some control trouble. He delivered ball 1 to Blair Barbier. Barbier, Larson, and Furness, batters 2, 3, and 4 coming up. Barbier's 1 for 3, a first inning single. There's a true freshman from Harvey, Louisiana. Coach Burton calls him an enthusiastic, down-to-the-dirt type player. He steps in at the position that has been most prominent during this great success of the 90s for LSU. Dookie Johnson, Todd Walker, all conference players 90 through 94 in the SEC at second base. Warren Morris took over for them. Pretty good legacy at that position. Heath Henderson begins to throw in the Alabama pen. Kingery has thrown 3 1/3 innings of relief. His 4 innings 2 days ago. That looked like a swing, and it is. RBA down on strikes for the first out of the 5th.
really, Kingery has done a wonderful job for Alabama. He's really stymied the attack of the LSU Tigers. He's keeping these hitters off balance, mixing in that kind of a slurve breaking ball of his, running the fastball in, and an occasional changeup.
There's a junior college transfer out of Central Alabama. Brandon Larson, 0 for 3. The junior from San Antonio, Texas. And he'll join the hit parade. Opposite field single, fielded by Dustin Moore on the hop. Larson is aboard with 1 out in the 5th as LSU tries to add to its 9-4 lead.
This is a nice piece of hitting by Brandon Larson. As you mentioned, Sean, has yet to get a hit today's ball game. But you know what's nice about that? He's got 40 home runs, and he knows he's struggling a little bit today, so he tries to go the other way, get himself a base hit, get on for his team. Good hitting.
As we noted earlier, Larson can run. Eddie Furness, the batter. He singled and scored in the 1st. Struck out in the 2nd, walked in the 3rd. Quick throw to first, and back safely is Larson. We talked with Brandon Larson yesterday about this record-breaking season. Asked him the magnitude of what he had accomplished to set in. He said, yes, it really has, particularly the home run record. Set the conference record. 40 homers. Furness, a base hit. Shortstop Duncan was almost right behind the second base bag, and the ball was hit behind him. Bidwell gets it in. And it's 1st and 3rd and 1 out in the 5th inning.
Well, we talked about the shift earlier, Sean, and Furness beats the shift here as this is a routine double play ball if they're in their normal positions. But you can see that shortstop is right behind second base almost, and it's hit where he normally would be standing.
Jim Wells on his way to the mound, and he'll make the pitching change. Heath Henderson, a right-hander, will come into the ball game to be the 3rd Alabama pitcher. 9-4 LSU will return to the College World Series on CBS in a moment.
Back in Omaha, LSU still holding a 5-run lead over Alabama. Well, this is a common sight at Rosenblatt Stadium, an overflow situation, and it is official. 2 attendance records have been set here today. 24,401 folks on hand for the largest single session here today. Overall, a record 204,309 people have attended this year's World Series. Now, they tell us that in the old days, they used to be able to fit all of the ticket reservations and all of the orders in the top drawer of a desk. Well, now they have to track them by computer. And if you want to get reserved seats, the series seats for the entire series, forget about it. You got to wait until the next millennium, a 3 to 4 year wait. Sean, you got the best seat in the house.
Yes, indeed we do. In this new press box, brand new a year ago. Heath Henderson, the new pitcher for Alabama. 3rd pitcher of the ball game for the Tide. He inherits a jam, 1st and 3rd and 1 out. Alabama trying to stay within 5 runs. First pitch, a strike from Mike Turner. Turner singled and knocked in a run in the 1st, reached on an error and scored in the 2nd. Slide out to win the 3rd. Turnersville, New Jersey. Mike told us yesterday that's about 10 minutes from Camden. On the outside corner, so Alabama gets a call on the outside part of the plate, which seems to be rapidly expanding. Runner at 3rd is Brandon Larson. And at 1st, Eddie Furness. 5th inning. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 3. So a big strikeout for Henderson for the 2nd out of the inning.
Well, both relievers from each prospective squad here have come in and really turned on the gas as far as the mound is concerned. This is a great curveball. Gets Kerner to chase. First base is occupied, no place to go.
On the top of the inning, Doug Thompson came out of the bullpen to get LSU out of a big jam as Alabama had loaded the bases. Now Henderson would like to come to the aid of Kingery here in the bottom of the inning. Trey McClure, 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored in the second. He struck out in his last at bat. And he's hit by that pitch. Raised him. And he takes first base. That's the 24th batter hit at this College World Series, adding to the record. And now Alabama will try to get out of a bases loaded situation.
There's another guy taking one for the team. You can see him watching it. He's watching the ball as it hits his leg. Watch this. Whoop. And you know it's a curveball. It's not going to hurt very long. I think I'll take it. Good job. Sean, you have to, the reason they're hitting so many guys, you have to pitch inside with these aluminum bats. You have to establish in there, so you're going to hit a guy once in a while.
And forward to hit one now, and he almost did. He threw it over the head of Tom Bernhardt, who ducked out of the way.
Now, this is asking a little bit too much to take one in for the team if you're going to take it in the dome, so you got to get out of the way. The problem here is a lot of times it can hit your bat. When you duck your head, your bat doesn't move and the ball can be put into play.
Or fouled off. Either way, it's an aggravating experience. One ball on Bernhardt. Had a perfect day at the plate. Not by taking swings like that one. Tom doubled to knock in 2 runs in the first, and he scored in the 6-run first inning. He walked and scored again in the second. He singled to center in the 4th. Bases full of Tigers with 2 outs. 9-4. LSU has the lead in the 5th inning. Chops to short. Duncan to Caruso. And each team left the bases full without scoring in the 5th. After 5, still a 5-run lead for the Tigers.
Back at Rosenblatt Stadium, 9-4 LSU. Well, obviously the LSU Tigers feel very comfortable, very at home here in Omaha. I mean, they've been in the championship game 4 times now in the last 7 years. So the folks in Omaha caught on and said, hey, we could probably do great business if we cater to the LSU fans. Well, that's why for the first time ever in the food court, they've opened up a gumbo and red beans and rice booth. Now, they are sold out of the red beans and rice. They still got a little bit of gumbo left. They're going to try to stretch it through 9 innings. But Albert Say here, the guy that's running the booth, says next year he's going to sell real estate to the LSU fans. He figures that they're down here often enough, they might as well just move in. Sean?
Thank you, Andrea. Mark Peer, the batter. 0-2 the count as he faces Doug Thompson, who came into a bases loaded 1-out jam last inning and struck out both men he faced. And he gets Peer swinging. Peer's had a tough day, now 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. He had been a standout in this College World Series prior to today.
Well, so far, Doug Thompson's philosophy is throwing everything as hard as he can, is working out just right. Struck out all 3 guys he's faced.
And he'll work next to Nate Duncan, the number 9 hitter. Takes a ball low and in. Nate's 0 for 2. He started his collegiate career at Northwestern State in Louisiana, where Tim Wells was the coach. He came with Wells, and Jim got the head coaching job at Alabama. Duncan has a base hit. 7th for Alabama, the first surrendered by Thompson.
One of the nice things for Alabama is that the 2 pitchers that they're facing are almost carbon copies of one another, and that Thompson throws a fastball and a curveball just like his predecessor Coogan, so there's not a whole lot of adjusting that has to go on for these Alabama hitters.
Now David Tidwell, the leadoff hitter. Strike 1 dropped in by Thompson. Foul ball, strike 2. Thompson had his game face on yesterday when we chatted with him at the LSU practice. They had a workout while Alabama was here playing, beating Miami for the right to play LSU. Thompson told us yesterday, if we lose tomorrow, the season is a failure.
That was pretty blunt. You know, these guys expect to win. And they don't come here and they're happy to be here. They want to win.
He grew up in Mississippi, but only a couple of hours from the LSU campus. Tidwell is swinging a miss. For strike 3, throw down to second. Not in time. Tidwell is out. Duncan manages to move into second base on the strikeout. He's in scoring position with 2 down.
Now Tidwell, you know, he strikes out here, but Duncan doesn't have to run. He does not have to run on this play. I don't know if he felt like he was forced to or not, but anyway, he makes it, luckily for Alabama. Good pitch by Thompson, curveball in the dirt.
And the official school ruling in a wild pitch, allowing Duncan to move up. 4 wild pitches thrown by LSU pitchers today. And a pass ball. Joe Caruso is the batter. He did not swing. The first base umpire, Jim Garman.
This is a tough call for the offside umpires, and you get it's almost a flip a coin. I think that was a correct call that time. I don't think he went.
Caruso's been on base 3 times, 2 hits, and he's reached on an error. That pitch crossed up to catcher Horton. More problems for the LSU battery, and Skip Bertman wants to chat with Thompson and Horton. At least he started out. And now he's turned around and gone back. Skip came all the way to the edge of the dirt on the warning track in front of his dugout.
Well, this is always dangerous for a catcher when he's expecting a breaking ball and gets a fastball. The other way around, he has a little bit more time to catch the ball, but here obviously he's looking for a breaking ball. A fastball just eats him up. He's lucky he didn't break his hand.
Apparently that's the concern of Bertman as he started out of the dugout. He hollered at Horton. Horton said he was all right. Now 4 wild pitches and 2 pass balls. And the breaking ball in for a strike. Skip Bertman calls the pitches from the dugout. Battery can change the pitch if they don't like it. Looks like Skip wanted to change the pitch. He whistled and got Horton's attention. He turned and looked in the dugout again. Fastball missed. 3-1 on Caruso, who has tied the record for hits in the College World Series with 13. He's a senior from Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. Takes ball 4. Couple of men on with 2 outs for Alabama in the 6th. Crimson Tide down 9-4. A record-setting season for Alabama. More wins than any other season in school history. More runs scored, more hits, and more homers. We showed you earlier the 160 homers, 3rd highest total single season in NCAA history. And they love a long ball in this situation. Duncan and Caruso at 3rd and 1st, respectively. 2 outs, and the number 3 hitter, Andy Phillips, at the plate. Bounce down to 3rd. A big hop up to the chin of McClure. A nice play by Trey. He went the short way to Barbier for the out that ends the inning. LSU still leads by 5 as once again Alabama squanders a good chance to score.
Back at Rosenblatt Stadium, LSU with a 9-4 lead over Alabama. I'm down in the stands with Ron Maestri, the chair of the Division I Baseball Committee. You are finishing up 6 years on the committee, 3 years as chair. You've seen a lot of changes in this tournament over the years. What's the next big change you see in the future?
Well, I would hope, Andrea, that we could go to 64 teams. It would really enhance baseball, you know, in other parts of the country. And primarily, we would hope that we could go to maybe a 16, 4-team regional, and then pare it down to 8 2-team regional, and then get 8 teams here. We've got a great interest. We had some regionals this year. LSU over 40,000, Mississippi State over 59,000. We're generating revenue, and it's something that I think college baseball deserves.
There's also been some talk. There was talk again this year at the NCAA convention, a proposal to move the season back, to move it later in the summer. Do you see that picking up more momentum?
Yeah, I think there's a movement toward that, and I think it would be good for college baseball. It might put it on a level or playing field, particularly for the northern part of the country, where they don't get to play in good weather. And, I think that's in the future. It's something that we're discussing right now, and hopefully we can get done.
Be warm down here in Omaha, though, in July, right? All right, back to you guys.
And as Andrea chatted with Ron Maestri, Wes Davis was called out on strikes. One of the pitches looked a little bit off the plate, but Al Davis has been pretty consistent in calling that pitch a strike, and generally that's all you can ask for. Unless you're the hitter, then you'd ask him not to call it a strike.
Exactly. That's spoken like a pitcher right there.
Conan Horton, the batter. Up for the first time since he took over for Clint Earnhardt behind the plate. Facing Heath Henderson. Henderson's a junior. Another transfer from Central Alabama Community College, the same junior college that sent Pingree to Alabama. Heath's from Trussville, Alabama. 6'5", 215 pounds. Little flare and a base hit in the left. Tigers have had at least one base runner in every inning, and they have a man on with one out here in the sixth.
Well, as we've mentioned, Sean, the balls that are up are just getting hammered today, and another fastball that's up in the zone. It's not hit hard, but since the ball is up in the zone, he's able to get it into the outfield for a base hit. If that ball's down, it's a harmless ground ball.
Danny Higgins, the leadoff hitter, set the tone for this ball game in the bottom of the first when he led off for LSU with a home run to the opposite field. Goes that way again and fouls it out of play to the left. Higgins singled to knock in 2 more runs later in the first inning. He walked in the third and lined the second to end the fourth. Strand a couple of base runners. After the early scoring, these two teams taking turns blowing good chances to score. LSU has already left 10 men on over the first 5 innings. They left the bases loaded last inning. Henderson missed outside.
Sean, you get the feeling whoever takes advantage of the next big situation is going to have a tremendous advantage in this ballgame. Yes, LSU has a 5-run lead, but we've already seen that evaporate down from a 9-run lead. So I just feel like if LSU doesn't score quickly in the next couple of innings here, at least 1 run, I mean, you're going to put a lot of momentum on Alabama's side, and they've shown us that they can come back.
Similarities between these two teams. Out of play to left. Both got off to great starts. LSU started 19-0. Alabama began the year 15-0. 19-0 start for LSU was a big surprise to Coach Bertman. He did not think that this team was College World Series material after the fall. Didn't think they had the pitching prowess in particular or enough offense. But obviously they do.
Danny Higgins going on a 3-ball system for a walk.
And not getting away with it. Full count now. See if the runner goes with 1 out. He does not, and it's a good thing for LSU as Higgins strikes out. Third strikeout for Heath Henderson.
It's a little bit of a mental lapse for Danny Higgins, not knowing the count, thinking he's walked, and all of a sudden he's got to get back in there and hit. It's a fastball, pretty good pitch, running away. There's a fastball of movement, one of the few that we have seen from either side today.
Go down to first. Horton back safely. Horton's at first with 2 outs, home half of the 6th. LSU batting with a 5-run lead. Blair Barbier is 1 for 4 today. Singled back in the first. 1 ball, 1 strike. Coach Bertman, when we talked to him yesterday about the 19-0 start, he said, yeah, fans had signs up at our home game, 56-0, where Skip must go. Quite accomplished that. 56-13. And in position for another national championship. It'll be the 4th for LSU under Skip Bertman. One of the great coaches in the history of college baseball. Now 58 years old.
Even the fans get a little bit spoiled. You know, you win so often. Everybody expects you to have great teams, and as a coach, sometimes you say, "Boy, we just don't have it." And then all of a sudden, bam, I'm 19-0. Wow, what happened?
Skip's looking forward to a little time off. 3-1 pitch. Outside, ball 4. First walk surrendered by Henderson. Last year, you are all aware of the heroics of Warren Morris here at the College World Series. LSU won the national championship. team flew home the next day. They went immediately to the basketball arena on campus for a pep rally in their honor. Skip Bertman dropped his stuff off at home, went back to the airport, flew to meet the Olympic team, which he coached last summer, spent the rest of the summer getting ready for and then participating in the Olympic Games in Atlanta. And was right back to LSU for another season. So looking forward to a little bit of downtime this summer.
Yeah, downtime for him is 3 or 4 clinics.
That's right. And Larson, the batter. He fouled the first one back. Brandon's 1 for 4 today. Single to right in the 5th. Mentioned during his last at bat that of all the records he set this year, the home run mark was the one that jumped out at him. Skip Bertman says when you think about a conference that over the years has had Rafael Palmeiro, Will Clark, Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas, Albert Bell, Dave Maggin, among others, throw into center field. And the runners will move up. Horton to third. RBA to second. And a wild throw by Henderson behind the shortstop, Duncan covering.
This is a play where you're just trying to catch the other club napping. I mean, there's no way he's going to try to steal a base here, and this large body coming in takes out the second baseman. The throw is wide. You can see that. These kinds of plays really don't work that often, and with a runner that's not expecting to try to steal a base, just keep that ball in your pocket.
The third Alabama error. This one charged to Henderson. It was Caruso, the second baseman, covering. Now 2-minute scoring position for LSU's best hitter. 0-1 the count. They should pitch very carefully to him now with first base open. They don't, and it's a base hit. And 2 runs will score. Why would you give him a pitch like that to hit with first base open? And by far LSU's best hitter at the plate. Larson delivers a 2-run single.
Well, the reason he got that kind of pitch was the same reason they tried to pick the runner off at second. I mean, this is just a mistake, plain and simple. With this kind of a hitter up there with 40 home runs to his credit and one of the best college players in the country, you let somebody else beat you. You know you have a right-handed hitter with a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed hitter coming up next.
Ball 1 in the dirt to Furness. The lead is back to 7 runs for LSU here in the 6th inning. Furness has had a good day, 2 singles and a walk. He has struck out, now batting .377. Furness chops one foul.
Sean, in Henderson's defense, you know, it's very difficult to pitch around a particular hitter in this lineup. I mean, there are just so many guys with so much power.
There's no bargain if you do on first. Pitch to Furness, a left-handed hitter. They could have been more careful in the kind of pitch they threw to Brandon Larson. Sometimes you can't always throw it where you want to. That was the case for Heath Henderson.
That's really one of the major differences between college baseball and Major League Baseball is the pitchers up there, they know where they're going to throw the ball, or at least they're supposed to. Down here, they'd like to know where they're going to throw it or hope to where they want to throw it, but not often do they get it there.
Runner goes, but the call third strike. Furness called out on strike to end the inning. 2 big runs for LSU in the 6th, after 6. It's 11-4 in favor of the Tigers. Thank you, Jim Nance. We welcome you back to Omaha's Rosenblatt Stadium. College World Series National Championship game. LSU's lead back up to 7. Brandon Larson, after an 0-for-3 start, has become a factor. 2 hits today now. And the single-season SEC and LSU record, passing Todd Walker. 110 hits this year for Larson. He's a terrific player.
Yeah, Brandon Larson, you know, he's done it all, and he's made some nice plays at short early in this ball game, which could have led to runs if he didn't make them. He's doing it all.
Now 117 runs batted in, adding to his SEC record. Doug Thompson's breaking ball stayed inside. 1-1 on Dustin Moore, the cleanup hitter. 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts and a walk. He's from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. One of the reasons Dustin chose Alabama was he wanted to go someplace relatively close to home so his grandparents could see him play. Base hit, center field. And his grandparents are here. There's Charlie Anderson. He's only missed 6 games in which Dustin's played in the last 3 years at Alabama. Charlie is 82 years old. His wife Marie travels with him to all the games. We wouldn't dare to ask Mrs. Anderson her age. It would be impolite. Charlie's 82. He drives all over the country going to Alabama games. Before every game he comes down to the dugout and gives Dustin Moore a Snickers bar. Good luck. He repeated again today. Dustin says his goal more than any other is to make it to the major leagues while his grandfather is still alive and see him play. Double play bouncer up the bat of Keller, and they turn it. 6-4-3. Larson, Barbier, and Furness. 2 outs and the base is now empty in the Alabama 7th.
Well, this is the pitcher's best friend right here. Ground ball, room service hop. Nice toss over to Barbier. Relay into first base. This is just how you draw it up on the chalkboard. Nice room service hop. The most important toss right there. Chest high. Delivers a strike to first base.
Matt Frick, the hitter. Strike on the outside corner from Doug Thompson. Frick's 1 for 3, an infield hit and a run scored in the 4th. He came up in a big spot as the first batter to face Thompson when Doug came into the ball game in the 5th. The base is loaded and 1 out. Frick struck out, as did Tucker, the next batter. Alabama did not score. They had a great chance to keep the momentum on their side and edge closer than 9-4.
Yeah, he definitely held up there. Nice call.
The breaking ball, 1-2 on Frick.
Sean, as you mentioned, as this game has worn on, the strike zone has become a little bit more liberal, and as you can see that Matt Frick doesn't enjoy it on this side.
Next ball 2. Matt Frick's a pretty good matchmaker, Cupid, if you will. He set his sister up, Tracy, on a date with a junior college teammate of his when he was at Yavapai, Chad Truby. Chad moved on to play at the University of Utah. Tracy and Chad are now engaged to be married. Matt's girlfriend, Carla Countryman, is the second baseman on Alabama's softball team. Softball just finished its first year of varsity sport at the University of Alabama. The 2-2 pitch. Close, but a ball, and a full count. 2 outs and the base is empty. 7th inning, a 7-run lead for LSU. Off-speed pitch. Frick out ahead of it. It's playable in foul ground. The catcher Horton wants it and has it. And that ends the inning. 7th inning stretch for this record-breaking crowd at Rosenblatt Stadium. A 7-run lead. CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA College World Series will continue after this message and a word from your local station. 7th inning stretch, 7-run lead for LSU. The Tigers are trying to win back-to-back national championships. They'll bat against Heath Henderson here in the 7th. Henderson is an amazing story, which I'll tell you about as the inning goes along. Certainly not happy about the score at the moment, but a couple of years ago it seemed highly unlikely he'd ever pitch in a College World Series or anywhere else for that matter. His first pitch of this inning is a ball to Mike Turner. Turner, the center fielder, chops it past Henderson. Caruso can't come up with it. Year in and year out, Alabama is among the best defensive teams in the Southeastern Conference, but not today.
Well, Sean, this was going to be a tough play for Joe Caruso, the second baseman, even if he gloves this ball, because Kerner runs down the first base pretty good. Nice stretch by Henderson. He can't quite get to it. Ball just goes underneath his glove as he doesn't quite get it down all the way. And like I said, even if he picks this ball, it's going to be a bang-bang play at first base. As you can see the runner coming into the picture there.
Scored a hit for Kerner. Now a check swing roller by McClure down to first. Tucker to the shortstop and back to first for the double play. The pitcher covering 3-6-1. Tucker, Duncan, and Henderson. And that's more like the Alabama team the Tide fans know in the field.
Yeah, this is a real nice play. You don't see this very often, the old 3-6-1 job. Pitcher gets over there in time to receive the throw from the shortstop. Nicely done by the Alabama defense.
Anderson to work next to Tom Bernhardt. 2 outs and the base is empty. 7th inning. LSU leads by 7, 11-4. Bernhardt looks at a strike. He has doubled, walked, and singled, driven in 2 and scored 2. We're talking about Henderson coming out of high school in Trussville, Alabama. He was heading for Alabama Birmingham before the start of his freshman season in 1994. He was mugged while walking through the parking lot of his high school. He was jumped. Someone broke a beer bottle between his neck and shoulder. He said it was a matter of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. They thought he was somebody else. But as a result, 2 arteries and a muscle were severed during the attack. He underwent emergency surgery, left him with a huge scar. Second operation was required to repair some upper back muscles that had deteriorated. Obviously, baseball was put on hold. That ball, well hit, right center, and gone. Bernhardt continues his tremendous College World Series with a home run.
It just amazes me that these college kids hit these balls the opposite field so far, and they know it's a home run. I was watching him as he hit this ball. He makes contact, bam, right there. He extends his arm. He knows it's gone right there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good when you can hit a ball the opposite field 400 feet and know it's a home run.
That's his first homer of the College World Series, his 17th of the year, and he's making a major case to be the most outstanding player of this College World Series. That homer knocks Henderson out of the ballgame. Doug Hurst will be the new pitcher. We'll return to the College World Series on CBS in a moment. Keith Henderson knocked out of the ballgame after 2 1/3 innings of relief. He gave up 3 runs. 2 earned on 4 hits. Walked 1 and struck out 4. He threw 40 pitches. We mentioned the mugging that he endured and the surgery afterwards. Wound up sitting out that 94 season. Then went 9-3 as a freshman All-American in 1995 at Alabama Birmingham, but he had problems in the classroom, so he transferred to Central Alabama. Did well there, got his grades up, and then transferred to Alabama. He said ever since he was little, he watched the College World Series, and he never imagined when he was at UAB or Central Alabama he'd be pitching in it someday. And he did today. And it's been a glum day for Heath and his teammates, down 12-4. And the 4th pitcher of the ball game for the Tide is right-hander Doug Hurst. He's making his 3rd appearance of the College World Series, his 26th overall. He's 4-1. Nearly a strikeout per inning and more than a hit per inning pitch. And he worked in yesterday's ball game and went over Miami, 1 inning of relief, which he gave up 1 run on 2 hits. And he struck out 1. He also appeared against the Canes here at the College World Series on June 2nd. Hurst is a junior from Pensacola, Florida, trying to prevent LSU from back-to-back national championships. It's happened on 3 occasions. 3 other schools have done it. LSU trying to become the 4th. Texas back at 49 and 50. USC won 5 straight in the early 70s. Stanford the last to do it. Back-to-back titles in 87 and 88. Skip Bertman's club looking for back-to-back titles. And the Tigers 4th in the 90s. And they have an 8-run lead in the 7th inning. After the home run by Bernhardt, 2 outs and the bases empty. Wes Davis greets Hurst. Hurst throws ball 1 in the dirt. Davis a 2-run double. Rather a 3-run double with the bases loaded back in the 2nd. He emptied the bases. Made it 9-0. Walked and scored in the 6-run first. Andrea Joyce at the top of our telecast told you about the magic bottle for LSU. The dirt scooped up after their last year's World Series. Put in the bottle. And the Tigers have been bringing it to their games in the regionals and at the World Series this year. They need one more win. Among the contents of that bottle, most of it is Rosenblatt Stadium dirt. Pete Polazola told us. But Wes Davis has a tooth that is in that bottle. He lost a tooth earlier this season while chewing gum. A tooth came out. The players decided that magic bottle would be a good place for it. So not just Rosenblatt Stadium dirt. Strike 3. That felt like a pulled tooth to Wes Davis. 1 run on the Bernhardt homer in the 7th inning for LSU.
Back at Rosenblatt Stadium, LSU leading Alabama 12-4. Well, we know that the folks in Omaha live for the College World Series, and no one loves it more than Ann Walters, a retired school teacher from Council Bluffs. And you had not missed a single inning of a single game in the World Series in 40 years until this season. What happened this year that caused you to miss a couple games?
My daughter called me in March and said, I have bad news for you because Barry, my grandson, graduates from high school.
Bad news.
Bad news. And I said, will he miss me? And she came right through the phone screaming and yelling. And I said, I haven't missed a game in 40 years. But
So you went to the graduation, but what happened though? I mean, the folks around you thought you were dead.
They did. Everybody said, where have you been? And they didn't know where I was. They thought I was dead. But I'm alive and kicking.
You have some very fond memories of the World Series over the years. What do you remember from the early 70s? Do you remember a strapping young man from USC named Fred Lynn?
Well, I don't remember Fred Lynn, but he probably blends in with a lot of other neat young men. But I do remember Dave Winfield. 1973, he was playing outfield, and he came here from the University of Minnesota. They brought him in to pitch. He struck out the next 9 men. He set this place on fire. He really did. They took 3rd place that year, and he was named the outstanding player.
And you're an LSU fan. Why's that?
Right. Well, the first time the coach was here, second time he was here, he came, turned around to me and shook my hand and said, you just get younger looking every year.
I'd be a fan too. Back to you guys. Thanks, Ann.
Well, her friends thought she was dead, and apparently she thought you were dead, Fred.
Yeah. I liked most of that interview.
Little looper down the right field line. Fair ball. Maybe right off the line to Pierre. Marks on his way to second. And he is just in ahead of a strong throw from the new right fielder, Jeremy Whitten, who was just taken over in right to Tom Bernhardt. So after Tucker was out on a fly ball to Whitten, Pierre has a double down the right field line.
Well, this is a pretty dangerous play by Mark Pierre. Actually, with your 8 runs down, you don't want to take any chances of getting thrown out. This ball hits right on the line, and the new right fielder gets his feet wet right away. It makes a cannon throw to second base, makes this play very close. And I guarantee you, Mark Pierre is extremely happy that it was called safe. Very embarrassing to get thrown out with an 8-run deficit.
There's Jeremy Whitten, redshirt freshman from Louisville, Kentucky, a two-sport athlete at LSU. Also reserve punter on the football team. He's in right. LSU protects an 8-run lead. Runner in scoring position in the 8th inning for Alabama. With 1 out, Nate Duncan, the number 9 hitter at the plate. He's 1 for 3. Singled in the 6th. Duncan, a very religious young man, as is his partner on the left side of the infield, Andy Phillips. Coach Wells told us the teammates call that left side of the infield the Christian Coalition. A strike thrown by Doug Thompson, who's been outstanding in relief of Patrick Coogan. Unscored upon is Thompson. 3 innings of relief. get to the high one and could not. Count even at 2-2.
Well, so far, Sean, the rest that the LSU pitching staff has gotten over the last couple of days has really paid off dividends, whereas Alabama, they had to play 2 more games to get to this position. Their arms are obviously tired.
Skip Merman able to run his best pitches out here, and Wells did not have full use of his pitching staff. But a great performance by Pete Fisher yesterday to get them to the championship game and the win over Miami. What a job Jim Wells has done. The year before he arrived in 1994, Alabama won 4 games in the conference. 4-24. And they were 21-35 overall. They doubled their win total in his very first season, won 42 games. Breaking ball for a swing and a miss. Duncan gone on strikes. And Thompson has now fanned 4, make it 5 in relief.
Well, Thompson has just been great since he's come in the middle of this ball game when Alabama looked like they were going to try to claw back into it. He's thrown strikes and quality strikes, mixed up his fastball with his curveball, as you see right here. Been tough as nails. They said he was a bulldog, and he's definitely playing the part.
Now David Tidwell, the runner at second and 2 outs, and he takes a strike. Tidwell's 1 for 4, singled and scored in the third. He struck out twice. Coogan and Thompson have combined to fan 13 Alabama hitters. Most strikeouts by one-team pitchers in a championship game, 16. The LSU fans remembered by Brett Laxton of the Tigers when he shut out Wichita State 8-0 in 1993. And the 4 wild pitches also ties a single game record, so they could make history with strikeouts. They've already tied the record in the College World Series game for wild pitches, 4 combined by Coogan and Thompson. He thought he had just thrown strike 2 there and didn't get the call. It looked like a very good pitch. That's called a strike. Fastball inside corner.
I think we've also set a record for most catchers' forearms hit by balls in the dirt. And these guys have, both catchers from LSU, done yeoman's work back there today.
They hope to post K number 14. They will not. That's a base hit in the left. Wells will hold the runner. Wisely so, down by 8. Davis has a good arm in left. Skip Berman says in college baseball you tend to put your best arm in left field because most of the balls hit to the outfield go to left field.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sean. As this ball's bounced into the left field, the left fielder's closing fast. You can see Coach Wells at third base with his hands up. He says, I have control of you this time, Tiger.
Rare hit for the runner in scoring position for Alabama today. The Tide now 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They squandered a lot of opportunities. Tidwell's base hit the second with a runner in scoring position, but doesn't get the run in from second. First and third and 2 outs. Here's Joe Caruso. 2 for 3 today. He's been on base 4 times. Homered, singled, walked, and reached on an error. Stolen a base. Scored a run. Knocked in a couple. Another ball in the dirt. Another good block by Horton. Thirteen hits in this College World Series for Caruso to tie the record. Shared with 3 others. A hit here would give him the record all by himself. That was one of just 2 players left from that 94 team of Coach Barry Schallenberger that won only 4 games in the conference. The other is right-handed pitcher Chris Eilers. Fooled on that pitch. 1 and 2. On the 1-2, fastball and a check swing. Pitch just missed.
There's a pitch where the catcher Horton sits way off the plate, and you're not going to get that pitch called. I mean, I'm sorry, he's about 1.5 feet outside there. You got to set up a little closer to the plate to get that one.
But not much based on what we've seen today. In the air and right, Witten on the run, and he can't get it. It's off his glove and on the warning track. 1 run is in. The second run comes to the plate as well, and it's 12-6. And if that has scored a hit, it's a new record for Joe Caruso. Witten just put him in the ballgame for defense. Had it go off his glove, but he couldn't squeeze it.
Caruso, every time he hits the ball, something happens good for Alabama. He drives this ball into the right center field gap. Witten just stretches out, just quite can't close the glove on it as it hits the webbing and comes out. That's when you want your glove to be broken in so that if it does hit there, it never comes out.
That has to be a hit. You can't charge a fielder with an error on that play, running in full stride and a half leap with the ball up over his head.
No, that's going to be scored a hit. At least we're scoring it a hit. But I guarantee you, if you ask Witten if he should have had that ball, he'll tell you yes.
Now Andy Phillips, the batter. 12-6 and a runner in scoring position. Has been scored a hit, so 14 hits in the World Series for Caruso, and he has the record all by himself now. Terrific ending to his career, a rare senior in college baseball. He'd like to have the record. More than the record, he'd like to have the victory, and right now his team's 6 runs down. Phillips 1 for 4. Last time up, robbed of a hit on a nice play by McClure. That's in the hole. Backhanded on the outfield grass by Larson. What a play! That's a couple of times that Phillips has had a hit taken away by a fine play on the left side of the infield. Tied. That's to settle for 2 runs in the 8th. Alabama still down by 6 in the championship game of the College World Series. LSU jumped out to a 9-0 lead after 2 innings. And the Tigers lead is 6 as they come up in the 8th. The number 9 hitter, Conan Horton, to lead off against Doug Hurst. Hurst came in last inning and struck out Wes Davis, the only batter he has faced. Ball 2, 2-0. Hurst, the 4th pitcher for Alabama today. Burton seems a little anxious over there with 6-run lead. He's still pacing around in front of that dugout.
I'm sure he's very happy that his club got those extra 3 runs after they had that 9 spot in the first 2.
If this score stands, Alabama will look back at the game, and Crimson Tide will be kicking themselves about their poor fielding and the lack of a timely hit. It's been the difference in the ball game. Still have 1 more crack at LSU pitching. And they can draw on the experience of having scored 10 runs in an inning against LSU this season in that 28-2 win back on May 10th in Tuscaloosa. Hurst walks the leadoff number 9 hitter, and that won't earn you many points with your coach.
John, usually the team that executes the best in these type games when both teams are so equally matched, that's the team that wins. And the left side of the LSU defense has been superlative this afternoon.
A couple of nice plays by McClure and Larson to take hits away from Andy Phillips. Ball outside to Higgins. He got the Tigers off and running with his leadoff homer in the 1st. Single later in the inning to knock in the last 2 runs of the 6-run 1st. Walked in the 3rd, lined out in the 4th, struck out in the 6th. 2-1 misses. 3 balls and a strike. What a year this has been for the Southeastern Conference. Florida, the national champion in football. Kentucky, national runner-up in basketball. No matter how this game ends, the SEC will win the baseball national championship. That's ball 4, and Coach Wells is out to talk to Hurst. (12-6) LSU, and the first 2 men on in the 8th inning. Blair Barbier, the batter. A little ritual that the LSU team picked up from the Puerto Rican team. And tried to turn a double play and could not. And the ball bounced up on the shortstop Duncan. Caruso's throw to first not in time. So they get 1 out on the fielder's choice. On to third goes Horton. Higgins erased 6-4, and Barbier safe on the fielder's choice.
Well, Sean, we've seen this bouncing ball here numerous times take this wicked hop at the end. But Nate Duncan stays with it. At least he gets the force out. And Joe Curso, he's not content with just the force. He wants the whole thing. I mean, not only has he set a World Series record for the amount of hits, but boy, his play at second base has been pretty inspirational as well.
It'll be interesting to see if he's selected as the most outstanding player at the College World Series. Very rare. The most outstanding player is from the losing team. But he has set a record with 14 hits in the College World Series. Since 1974, the most outstanding player has been on the winning team every year except 92. And Cal State Fullerton's Phil Nevin was the MVP here. And last year, Pat Burrell of Miami was the most outstanding player, despite the Canes' loss to LSU in the championship game.
Sean, you don't almost expect that record to be broken from a team that's come through the elimination side because they play more games. So then they get more at-bats. More chances to get base hits.
Well, that was the advantage that Skip Berman thought Alabama had coming into this game. Certainly Skip's pitchers were more well rested with the days off, but he said Alabama's hitters will have about 8 to 10 more at-bats each than our hitters. Larson is short, a double play ball. And Caruso's throw is high and safe at first is Larson, and a run scores. Double play would have gotten them out of the inning unscathed. Once again, the defense lets the Tide down. And another run in for LSU.
Well, just when you start talking good about a guy's defense, he kind of lets you down. Routine ground ball. Nate Duncan, nice feed over to Caruso. Doesn't step towards first, as you'll notice there. Kind of had his feet planted before he threw that ball. Didn't stride towards first, hence the high throw to first base.
Because you can't assume a double play, no error charged. And it is an RBI on a fielder's choice for Larson. He's driven in 3 runs in the ball game. Furness with a base hit. Past the diving third baseman Phillips. Furness has his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Well, earlier in the game, they used the old Ted Williams shift against Furness with the shortstop behind second base, and he foiled him 2 innings ago with a base hit at dead short. Now he's done it again. Obviously, he's looked at the defense and said, I'm going to go to left field today. They're giving it to me. I'm going to take it.
Saw the graphic. 13 runs ties the record for most runs by one team in a College World Series championship game. Tying the record set by Oklahoma. The Sooners won 13-5 over Georgia Tech in the 1994 championship game. Mike Kerner is the batter. 1 strike to count. Like one of the 2 returning starters among the position players, and he liked his team's chances when they arrived in Omaha. He told us yesterday on the bus ride to their first game of this College World Series, players were dancing in the aisles of the bus. The song "Keep It Live," a song that became their rallying cry last year. They're very superstitious about that bus experience. They had the same bus driver they had last year here in Omaha. Jimmy the Duke Williams, the bus driver. Once again, he'll be the driver for the championship team. Alabama, they mount a big comeback. Sean McDonough, Fred Lynn, Andrea Joyce back at the College World Series in Omaha. 9th inning. Alabama in search of its first national championship, down by 7 runs. Rally caps on display in the Tide dugout. Doug Thompson's been outstanding in relief. He'd be the winning pitcher since the starter Coogan did not go 5 innings. Dustin Moore quickly in the hole, 0-2. Moore, G.W. Keller, and Matt Frick, the middle third of the Alabama order coming up. Moore singled and walked and struck out twice. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. One out of the 9th.
Sean, the key to this game is that Skip Bertman had arrested Doug Thompson to bring in when their ball club got into trouble and Alabama was mounting an attack, and he has done this consistently from the 4th inning on. Great curveballs and spotted fastballs, and he's just been a world beater.
G.W. Keller is the batter. 1-1 the count. Lined and caught by the shortstop Larson. Another fine play on the left side of the LSU infield, and the Tigers are 1 out away from back-to-back national championships.
Well, Brandon Larson has had a good day at the plate, but he's had a better day in the field. He times this perfectly. It looks like a base hit for sure. Not today.
Matt Frick, the batter. Trying to keep Alabama alive. Borderline strike. 1-1. Foul ball, and now LSU is 1 strike away. Two outs, bases empty, top of the 9th. LSU leads 13-6. The 1-2. Frick wouldn't chase it. And Frick just did get a piece of that one.
Sean, no one likes to make the last out of any game, in particular this game. So he's really battling tough.
School record 56 wins this year for Alabama. They've been the #1 team for several weeks now. Came here with visions of the national championship. Certainly a very realistic goal, but not very realistic at the moment. Strike 3. back-to-back national championships for the LSU Tigers.